Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
Is one Yotze Kriyas Megillah, or in fact any mitzvah such as Havdalah, Kriyas HaTorah, and the like through speakers, a microphone, a broadcast system, telephone, radio, or live internet hookup? Wouldn't it be wonderful for those who are unable to exactly make it to shul or at the time that the shul is having the minyan to simply sit back and watch and listen from your home and fulfill your mitzvah? And the question is obviously asked, is such a method of fulfilling the mitzvah valid? Must you actually be there, or is hearing it through the phone and the like suffice? Furthermore, if there are many people and the Balkari has a low voice, can he use a microphone or speaker system to raise the decibels of the sound and amplify it so people can hear him? So before we enter into the discussion on the poskim on this matter, we will first offer the arguments to and from to validate versus invalidate such a hearing. On the one hand, one can claim that a voice is a voice. When I'm hearing it through a microphone or a broadcast system or radio, it's his voice that I'm hearing. So what's the difference whether you're in the room or not in the room? Where do we find in Allah you have to be in the same room? There's no such source. If I'm in a closed room and I hear someone next door reading Megillah, I'm not Yotze? Of course I'm Yotze. So what's the difference? On the other hand, we can say that no, the Torah requires you to hear a natural voice of the person, while microphones and the like are all artificial mimics and electronical pulses of the original voice and not the original voice, so it's invalid. So practically, what do the poskim have to say about this matter? So while we find that there were many poskim in previous generations who decided to permit it and did not understand even the shaila involved, and one can be Yotze through such methods, nonetheless, this was due to their lack of understanding of the mechanics of how a telephone, radio, or broadcast system or microphone works, thinking that it magically transports the natural voice of the person to many miles away, when in truth, as we stated earlier in the previous argument, it is a mere electronic pulse which mimics the voice of the speaker. Now, being that the Torah requires one to hear the actual voice of the speaker, as is evident from Shulchanaruch chapter 124, Halacha 11, and in the Gemara Rosh Hashanah 27b, and in the laws of Shofar 587.1, that an echoed sound is invalid, and being that in order to be Yotze mitzvah from someone, that someone must be chayiv in the mitzvah, and certainly machines made of metal are not chayiv in mitzvahs. Therefore, certainly if you hear the mimicked voice of a machine, you cannot be Yotze any mitzvah through doing so. And furthermore, it is even forbidden to answer Amen to any of the blessings that you hear from them, if your intent is to be Yotze. Because indeed, you're not Yotze. So rules the Das Torah Mariango of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in length in Mincha Shleimah, volume 1, Shuva 9. The Eretz Tzvi, Mishptei Uziel, this was the final conclusion of the Chazon Ish, the Minchas Yitzchak, Avad Yosef and Yechavadas, the Mishnah Halachos, Kinyan Torah, Ber Moshe, Piskei Tshuvos, and so was the Rebbe's opinion as recorded in length in Shulchan Menachem, volume 3, page 319. Now, though we find some poskim who nonetheless argue that even if we accept the new revelation that it's only a mimicked voice, perhaps mimicked voices which come immediately after the voice of origin, or at the very same time, one can still be Yotze with it because he caused that voice to happen, a concept called koyach de koychai. Nonetheless, practically, as we said, the vast majority of poskim all negate this and rule one is not Yotze in such a way. Thus, bottom line, one is not Yotze the mitzvah of Megillah reading or any other mitzvah that requires you to hear from a radio, broadcast, telephone, live hookup, and or a microphone or sound system. And while if you're stuck and you're not going to hear Megillah from anyone other than the radio, there's no loss in listening, but you're not fulfilling the mitzvah by doing so. And therefore, a shul should not put a microphone for the Megillah reader, even if it's difficult for people to hear, as if in truth they can't hear, they're not Yotze, as they're not Yotze with the microphone. And if necessary, they should make a second minyan for those who are too far to hear and are out of range of the reader. Even b'diavad, that one went ahead and heard Megillah reading from a radio, telephone, or in shul through a microphone, if he's not certain that he was able to hear the original voice of the reader, despite the microphone, he is to rehear the Megillah reading without a bracha, as perhaps he was not Yotze. Now, regarding the answering of Amen, we said before that he cannot answer Amen. This is only if he mistakenly desired to be Yotze the mitzvah, However, if you stop listening in, you already did the mitzvah, you're going to do it later on, then there's no problem in answering Amen, and in fact you're obligated to do so, even if it's being transmitted through a microphone or broadcast system, so long as where you are hearing does not have a slight delay from the real live reading or event. If, however, there is a slight delay of even a few seconds from the live reading, then no one can ever answer Amen due to the Isser of Amen Yisayma, even if you're not intending to be Yetzer with the person. So to summarize, despite the voicing of lenient opinions, but poil in actuality one cannot be Yetzer Megillah reading through hearing the Megillah through a microphone, sound system, radio, telephone, or live hookup. One who did so is to rehear the reading. Again, to be Yetzer, and one is not to answer Amen to these blessings unless his intent is not to be Yetzer through hearing it, and there's no delay in time between the live reading and the broadcast.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many Sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.